Hey, Andrew, man, thanks for coming on.
Cheers, thanks for having me.
Let's start with the basics of where it all began for you musically.
Musically, I think my parents listened to loads of music, so music was non-stop in the house, and it's probably one of the first things I can remember is me like dancing to Fleetwood Mac and Michael Jackson and loads of like pop hits from the 80s and 90s. And my dad was the avid rock listener, my mom was the avid pop listener. So it would like rotate. And the older I got, the more I lent to rock music. And then the older I got then was like, oh, I can just pick up a guitar and learn that as well.
Hmm.
So that's like, I think that's how the transition into me doing music started.
And I did hear that you also model or used to model. How did you fall
Yeah.
into that?
Yeah, I got approached on the street when I was 13 or 14, and my still now agent was like this mad woman running down the street at me, and I was like, I didn't know what was going on. And well, back then, so this is like 2005, 6-ish. Back then, models didn't look like I looked. It was like muscular guys and like hyper masculine, whatever. And I think that was like the transition when I started. I started doing it like full time when I was 16, 17. She just said, "Do you want to go to Paris for Fashion Week?" I was like, "Yeah, why not?" So I got there and then I quickly realized, wow, there's a lot of like skinny, lanky kids like me here. And then it just took off, and then it was like a 10-year trip, and it was like 200 shows, and I flew all over the planet, and it was really, really sick.
Well, the way you explain it, it sounds like a lot of red flags. Because over here in Australia, we're like stranger danger. If anyone approaches you, you don't you don't go to them or speak to them. So when you say a crazy lady ran up to you and went, "You want to be a model?" It's like, ooh.
Yeah, I think, but do you know what might have helped? I had a friend of mine with me. I think if I had been by myself, I'd have said no, no, no. But I think because he was taller than me, because I was like a little kid and then I just shot up. He was like taller than me, and he was like, oh, he had a bit of muscles, and he was like starting to get like facial hair, and I had none of that. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll be a model, cool, because I wanted to like flex on him. But yeah, who could have known that it was like would consume basically my entire 20s.
How did your
Yeah.
parents feel about you being a model?
Mom was kind of like, oh, this is exciting and cool, and and my dad worked at the same company for 40 years. My granddad was a carpenter, so it's kind of like, and I grew up in Germany, so it's like this post-war generation was like, you get a job and you make sure you can put money away, and he didn't quite understand the concept because there is no concept, and it's like there is no trial and error. It's like either you get flung into it and it works out, or it doesn't. But I think like a couple of years down the line, when he started seeing like, oh, he's traveling a lot, he's moving to these places, and he take care of himself, I think he was like cool with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then now you're in the music industry, which is just as rough and unpredictable.
Yeah.
How do they feel about that one? The move to the music industry.
So, I mean, I played in bands when I was younger, and there it was kind of the like not reverse. Mom was really proud as well, but my dad, because I learned them like the love and the passion for music, because he's like he'd wear a suit every day, and he's like he'd come home and then he'd suddenly like sit down and listen to his music, and that's where he let his guard down. So that's why I always saw music as like this love, this passion. So when I started making music, he was really proud, and he was like, "Oh, this is great," because I think he would have always wanted I think he always wanted to learn how to play music, but that was just like never in the cards. So I guess me doing it now, he's still kind of like, so how are you going to earn money? But then he's also like,
Yeah.
he's also, yeah, He loves it. He's really like, my mom keeps telling me he's like looking at the numbers on Spotify. Like he'd never tell me, but he's like cuting out. Yeah.
He's probably half your listeners. Just has it on repeat.
He's got like an extra computer that just plays like just repeat songs for weeks on end.
Did you find the transition easy from modeling to music?
Well, I kind of always felt like I was a musician, and then I became a model. So like, like within me, not really, but then also just like, because modeling, I started, and then I started at the top really quickly, and then it just like over 10 years it's trickled down, and then I could just like be like, okay, cool, this is like, that was fun, this is done. Music's a completely different beast because you just start at zero, and then you have unrealistic expectations or naive expectations, and like, oh, this song's gonna get like millions of streams because it's good music. Like every musician will say that about their music. So I went in with that expectation, and then it just started getting beaten out of me. Whereas like the first song I released in the first day got 800 streams, and I was devastated. But then I look back now and I was like, wow, that's actually like 800 people listen to that song, because I'm like, no, but like nobody knows me. So it was like, I did have to adjust, but I knew it was going to be equally as cutthroat, I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
you did kind of jump in at the right time, because through your modeling phase, you needed a record label to get anywhere. But now that this day and age, you can release music from your home computer, which is probably great for you, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It's good time. Like it's just made everything like easy and accessible for people. Like there could be someone down the street here, the window on the other side could be writing the next #1 hit. So yeah, digitalization of music is crazy.
What was the biggest learning curve for you for the music industry?
I think in the industry, because I quickly understood how to connect the dots, and I was talking to a lot of other musicians and industry people. That was kind of just like quick, because I was interested, I wanted to learn. But then I think the hardest thing for me was mentally, I was putting so much pressure on it, and I was putting so much pressure on myself, and like things that shouldn't matter. Like for me, it was like super important how many streams a song got at the end of the day. And then I was like, well, it doesn't really matter, because if I think that it's a good song, and I don't even have to look at the end of the day how many streams it has. Like it was a very freeing experience. But the first, like, let's say 7 or 8 months were kind of just, I was just miserable, because it's like the parameter of success. And I think that's the same problem with media and TikTok and all that bullshit. It's like, what is the parameter of success today? And it's like all numbers. And we need to, like, I had to detach myself because I was getting sick from it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You've only been releasing music for a while now. 2020, I think, is when you started. I think that's what your discography says.
Yeah, I think.
Have you ever
six days?
Yeah. Have you ever felt like giving up?
So yeah, it was. Yeah. Well, I think when I had that realization that the numbers don't count, and I just enjoyed it for doing it, like for the sake of doing it. I think it was just like really liberating, and then I could just kind of just like, if I don't care, like I don't have to care what other people think. But then it's just, yeah, I think it's gotten better since then. But there was a point where I was just like, I can't do this anymore. But that was because I was just putting too much pressure on myself.
And what would you be doing if you weren't in the music industry and or modeling? What do you think you would have ended up doing?
Oh wow, I think it's more down to like, what would I be doing if I hadn't started modeling? To be fair, I probably would have started in music much earlier, and I think around that time when it kicked off, I was like looking into studying sound design and engineering and stuff. But then I figured out, oh, that's a lot of physics. So I didn't. I was like, no, I can't do that. But yeah, I think it would have either way would have been like something creative. Like, and I always need an outlet. Yeah.
Back to your modeling, I just want to have a few questions about it. What's the strangest thing that's happened to you while modeling, like on the runway or either just like in the modeling industry?
Got to try and think. I've got to like fade it, like, because I've been doing it so long. It became like completely normal. But it's like, I don't know. I was in like at a party in a hotel room with Kate Moss, and that was like holy shit. And then there was like I was on a private jet, and it was just very, very surreal. Yeah. It was like everything you kind of see in the movies, and people tell you about modeling. It kind of happened. So it just the whole experience of everything, that being engulfed by it, and there was like points. I think there was points where I lost myself, definitely, where I was being a dick because I just like you're blinded by the flashing lights. But now I can look back and I was like, oh, that was cool, but I don't think I'd want to do that again.
Yeah. What's a common misconception about modeling, like within the industry?
I mean, it kind of goes against what I just said, but it is not the high life. Like, you are living out of a suitcase, you're by yourself most of the times, you are in shitty hotels. And then if you get far enough to realize you're basically you're getting paid for not anything you've ever worked for. So you're born that way and you look that way, and they don't book you for your personality. And then if you don't get booked for your face, it's like you're kind of, well, what's left, right? So it's a super weird one, because society keeps telling you, oh, it's like, oh, it's so cool to be a model, but then you're like, but I haven't worked for it. I'd rather like be like, people look at me and be like, oh, that's really cool, or I want to be like that, or aspirational for something that I've actually done. But modeling's kind of, it is hard work, but then you getting in, you don't do an apprenticeship. Yeah. It's just like you get a list of places you've got to go for castings, and they're like, well, here's a list. Well, back when I started, here's a list, here's a map. It's my first time in Paris. And they're like, fuck off then, go make money. You know? And then either it works or it doesn't. It's very surreal. So it's cutthroat. And I don't know how I've stuck around so long, but yeah, I wouldn't, if someone wants to try it out, cool, go for it. But I think they should have a chat with someone that's done it beforehand and like go through, right, are you built for this, or should you be doing this at this point in your life?
Was it hard to keep up your appearance? Like, because it is what you said, you need to be a certain way, or is it just you just did everything normal?
No, well, for us guys, it was kind of, I think we're like just tall guys that have a really good metabolism. So there was never that much pressure. And we were just eating McDonald's because that was that was all we could afford, and B, it was like the quickest meal we could get because we were literally working 22-hour days. Sadly, it's much worse, or the pressure is much higher for girls because there's much more money, the industry is more cutthroat, and just the agencies. I mean, I remember I lived in New York for a while, and the girls would have a 10 o'clock curfew. Like, they had to be home at 10 o'clock. They had to tell the agency what they'd eaten of the day. They had to go in and like keep checking their waist sizes. So yeah, it was bad, but this is like 7, 8, 9 years ago. But thankfully now you can see that shift, that it's changing, that there is body positivity, and that like no one wants to see. I just never understood it. If there's like a campaign for this massive brand, and it's just like 3 skinny white boys on the billboard that like nobody can relate to. So thank God there's a massive change in that now. So it's getting better.
I do want to circle back. You said McDonald's was kind of the only thing you could afford. I assume the industry doesn't pay well.
Well, that was kind of at the beginning, and to be fair, it was the only more time. Like you didn't have time to sit down and eat. You'd normally have your first casting around 8 o'clock, and that went till. So you're like running through town from 8 till at least 8, and then you've got your fittings in the evening. So that's for the shows that you kind of have 90% booked. You go, you try on the clothes, and then you have fittings all night, and that can go up to like 4 or 5 in the morning. Then you try and get 2 or 3 hours of sleep, and then you're up again. But you don't like you can't eat. It's just like non-stop because you finish somewhere and you want to sit down. The agency's like, you need to run back right now. It's just hectic.
That sounds insane. You did say that the fittings and stuff, you did model for Louis Vuitton, Versace, and Dior. What's the craziest thing they put you in? Like you see the modeling runways and it's just like outrageous shit. And you're like, what the fuck are those? Who is ever going to wear them?
Yeah. I mean, let me think. What's the craziest shit? I don't know. But luckily, I don't know. For some reason, I a lot of brands. I think because I fit a suit really well, they'd always put me in a nice suit, so I'd always be more in on the suit side. And it's normally like what's the craziest look? I'm trying to think. I mean, I think I've had the whole job lot done. I've had like colors in my face, or I've ever worn heels. I might have had a bit of a heel sometime, but I've never had something like really crazy.
Yeah.
But I think in the latter stage of my career, I was kind of like hoping to get something where I was like, right, I've done suits for 8 years now. They give me some crazy shit, but it kind of always stuck with the suits.
They're like, here, get into this. And you're looking at it like, how the fuck do I fit in that?
Yeah, there's some mad ones, but then I don't know. When I started off, I would see crazy things, and I was like, "Oh, I don't understand," or "Well, that's weird." And I'd be sat there, and I was like, "Why? I don't get it." But because I had an interest in fashion from day one, I learned a lot about fashion, so that now, when I see something mad, I can pinpoint pop culturally where that's from and how they've approached it and how it will then apply to like be changed to look in the shop. So yeah.
So it makes sense to you?
Like, I think so. Most things, yeah.
Because to me, it just looks like outrageously big shit just hanging off someone as they walk down, and it's just like, who is ever going to wear that, and who is ever going to buy that?
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean, there's the runway looks, and then when it comes to like what gets commercialized, they're gonna like strip that down, and those colors were gonna become like a jacket or something. Like they won't go too mad.
Oh, okay. But it's just a concept.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's about the storytelling.
If you feel comfortable speaking about it, how was your COVID experience? Because I know the UK went through absolute hell a year ago. How was that for you mentally, physically, and just all around personally?
Well, when COVID, I was living in Milan, Italy, when COVID came, like kind of people started using the word, and Italy got hit first in Europe. So it was like, it went straight from China, and Italy was like the first hotspot. So me and my fiance, we were kind of done there anyway because she was finishing her job. So we just packed up and we left, and we went to see our parents who were in Germany. And then it just got that was beginning of March. And then by end of March, I think we had like lockdowns everywhere. So we ended up spending 6 months in Germany, and then we moved to London in September of last year. So the 6 months in Germany for me was quite liberating because my parents live in a forest. I switched off social media, and I could just really, like, I had time to build a relationship with my parents again, and I don't know, it was kind of okay. And then when we moved to the UK in September, everything went to shit again, and that one was rougher, I think. I don't know if it was due to because I knew I was in London and everything was new, but yeah, I think the worst it got was like around February, March, because at that point it was just like, oh, definitely had enough. But can't complain because there's a lot of people that have been a lot worse off and that have suffered and lost family members. So yeah, it was in the end, I look back and was like, everything was fine, everything was good. But how about you guys? Are you guys still? Are you still in lockdown?
It wasn't as bad as what our news made it out to be. I don't know what they told you over there, but I was still going to McDonald's, the shops and stuff like that. Like, you guys couldn't leave your house. Like, there were some areas here in Australia where you couldn't leave either, but where I am, we could still do things. It wasn't too crazy. I was still working. I was still doing all things normal.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't complain either, which is a blessing, I guess.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your interactive game.
Oh yeah.
What is your highest score? Because mine was 3,570. That's not very high, but it's intense. It's a very good game, like, surprisingly.
Yeah. So yeah, the game. So that was my friend Claudio Cimini from Italy made that game because I didn't want to do a music video. I think my highest score was, I think it was up to 12,000 or something. But that, like, I helped him develop the game, so I was like the guinea pig for everything. So I just got really good at it, I guess. And by the time it was out, I was like, I could do it blindfolded. But yeah, the game was, I was kind of sick and tired of, I didn't want to do a music video. And I was like, how can we just get people to, I don't know, what can we do that's like kind of different? And I think I'd found my old Game Boy around that time, and I was just like, surely it must be quite easy to make like a 2D game now. It wasn't that easy, but he figured it out, and it was that. Yeah, that was super sick.
I bet you wished you just did a music video at the end of it.
I think at the end of it, he wished that I did just a music video, because I was like, but that's not right. Like, I think I can be a pain in the ass sometimes, because I like, perfectionist doesn't make sense because creation has nothing to do with perfection, but I'm like very specific. So I think by the end of it, he was just like, you know what, mate, fuck off. Yeah.
You should port it to iPhone, make it an app. I feel like it'd be a decent app. There's some shit ones out there, so I feel like that'll be a good game.
I think it is. I think I've just never told anyone. Let me just check. I think I've actually got the app or the game.
Because I've clicked the link and I went to like a Safari browser, like in a browser web page.
Yeah.
Yeah, something.
No, I have got the app, but I think the problem is if you want to then sell it there was something wrong with selling it on the App Store or something. But also, we at the beginning, we were like, right, we want to make this as easy for people as possible. So if I would have been like, hey guys, I brought this song out, just go to the App Store, download this, put your info in, then we're like, yeah, no, fuck that. Yeah. Like, people want everything one click away, right?
Yeah. Well, as soon as you say go to, they're like, nah, next.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No. That wouldn't have worked.
When you're not being Andreww, the model or musician, what are you doing? Like, what do you do in your downtime?
I love sports. I'm obsessed with sports, watching sports, playing sports. So I play tennis, I play football, play golf. And then what I'll watch anything. So that's like a lot of my time. But I just like hanging out with loads of friends that do loads of different things. Like I love a good combo. Like if I know it's Friday night, like I don't do clubs. Like I'll go to a gig here and there, but the perfect Friday night is like having a dinner at someone's house and just a couple of beers and just like talking until we fall asleep. Love a good chat. So yeah, it's just like very simple, boring almost.
Just normal, like everyday stuff.
Yeah.
Not a big high life, popping bottles in the club and stuff. No.
I haven't been in a club in over 4 years. Like that, those days are done.
Probably good for the liver and the soul and the heart.
I don't know how I used to do it, but like, if I have one beer now, I have a hangover. I used to like just go off it. Yeah, no, better now.
What was your first live performance like? Speaking of clubs, like the first time you stepped on a stage to sing anything, or have you not had one yet?
Yeah, it was, oh, hold on, I've got the date. It was this 4th of September 2006 or 7. So it must have been 15. It was my band back in the day. We were called Tommy and the Krauts, and we played in like the youth center around like where we lived. And nobody expected anything from us because all our mates were there, and they were just like, "What are you playing the concert? What are you talking about?" And then we got on stage, and we had like we were doing covers, right? We were a cover band, so we did Black Keys, we did Set You Free, Have Love Will Travel, we did Ruby from the Kaiser Chiefs, we did Shipping Up to Boston, Dropkick Murphys, we did Fly Away from Lenny Kravitz. So we were just like on a rock star kind of vibe. And because they didn't expect anything and they were all pissed, they just went off. It was like I'll never forget the experience. It was crazy. I was crowd surfing. Like there was just like people on stage. It was just nuts. And we were 15. I think, yeah, that was like one of the greatest days of my life. And that was the first experience. I think I've got a video of it as well. It sounded horrific. My voice was gone by halfway through, but we had the best time ever. It was brilliant.
Do you think you get the band back together?
So we only see each other once a year. We meet up around Christmas once a year, and we don't see each other for the whole year. And we don't really write or text with each other for the whole year. But yeah, we're meeting next month, and it's like a 10-minute status quo talk on what everyone's doing, and then it's just a major piss up talking about old times. But I don't think we're going to get back together because everyone's just like, I'm in London, another guy's in Cologne where we grew up, another guy's in Berlin, so everyone's just like got their own shit going.
Logistical nightmare anyway.
Yeah. Just for a bit of fun, I think it would be a bit too much.
I bet every time you guys sit down around Christmas, it's like, we should get the band back together. And then as it ends, it just kind of just dies there as everyone leaves.
Yeah, it's like one of those, I'll text you tomorrow about jamming, and then it just never happens.
I did notice that, like, it might not be a big deal for you. It's not a big deal for me, but anyone else following you, Rita Ora started following you on Instagram. I don't know how long ago, but what was that notification like?
I was with her. Like, I know Rita through a mutual friend, and when I moved to London, she came over to the friend's house that I was living with at the beginning, and we were just like having a couple of drinks, had a dinner, and we just really got on, and we've got the same sense of humor, so we were just pissing ourselves all night, and then we just kept in touch ever since. Yeah, she's sick.
I wasn't expecting that at all. Yeah. For you to go, yeah, I know her. She's all right.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I thought she followed you from like.
No, I don't think she followed me. No, it was like from a dinner, and then just kind of. It was weird, but then it was like kind of normal. But I met her just as like, "Hi, I'm Rita." And I was like, "Hi, I'm Andreww. How you doing? You want a beer?" And I was like, "Yeah." What you saying? It was like Oh, she's completely normal.
Yeah. Well, most artists are. That's kind of why I do this, to show people that artists aren't the high pedestal you put them on. They're still normal people like yourself who just like to chat and have a dinner.
Exactly, man.
Yeah. Who is your inspiration out of everybody nowadays? Or are you still back on the
Oh.
old school stuff?
Um, it's like this list that keeps growing and then I keep deducting and keep adding. Um, I mean, the universe formed around AC/DC kind of, because that was like the first music I listened to where I consciously was like, holy shit. Um, but then there's loads of people that like any musician that I like is an inspiration to me. And I think this week I've been listening to, do you know Deb Never she's from LA, she's amazing. And then Dive a lot, been listening to Palace. Like I'm on my indie vibe again right now. A month ago, obviously, it was like a lot of hip hop because Kanye and Drake and Baby Keem and Tyler's album. So Call Me If You Get Lost is for me the greatest hip hop album that ever came out. So Tyler's like the GOAT.
Yeah.
But I easily pull inspiration from anything, like, and that's what I spend my entire day kind of doing. It could be I don't know, a guy that invented something that just helped someone. I'm like, sick. Like that's my kind of, I wake up and I'm like, right, what can I concentrate my vision on, like my concentration on, that is good for me, that I can then tell other people, or I can converse with people that know that as well. And then how can I just block out all the bullshit that just isn't for me, that isn't healthy for me? So anything, yeah.
Yeah.
If that answers the question, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, well, what is your inspiration? But anything is kind of the answer,
Yeah,
because
man.
if you can draw inspiration from, as you said, someone creating something for someone else, and you're like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, even, it doesn't have to be anything material either. It can just be like, if you see like something nice happening on the street that puts a smile on your face. I mean, and that sounds like a kind of like corny cliche kind of thing, but I love it. Like I'm walking through, there's this one guy outside my work that he sits in front of the supermarket, and he must live around there, somewhere around the street. And there's like this rotation of me and maybe like 4, 5, 6 other people that I see that are always like checking, like, mate, what do you need? And then we go in the supermarket, we get them water, we get them this and this and this. And I thought it was just me doing it, but then I saw it was like 4 or 5 other people were doing it as well. And I was like, all right, cool, that's the gang. Like,
Yeah.
I've never spoken to them, probably never will, but yeah, I like stuff like that.
You know what? It's probably humbling to know that you have such a mass following as it is, but you're not the one on social media going, I'm giving this guy a bottle of water. I'm giving this guy like some food. It's good that you do shit in the background. I find it, you don't need to record everything.
No, man. No, because then the premise on why you're doing it is completely off.
Yeah.
Yeah, social media is a weird one. Like, I've completely kind of, I'll post stuff here and there, but the last 7 posts have just been like, new singles out, here's the music video, and then it goes quiet. And then it's like, new single out, here's the music video, and then it just goes quiet again, because I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I think it would help my music if I did much more, but I'm not going to do anything that isn't good for me, you know?
Yeah. Well, you got to look out for yourself first before you look out for your fans and all that first, because you can't be you if you can't perform or do anything.
Exactly.
I do have a bunch of questions that I fire off at everyone. They're all exactly the same. It's just to get to know you a little bit better, more than what we have now. But what's your favorite food, man?
Ramen or sushi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the hype
Japanese
about sushi?
all day.
I'm never big on sushi. I don't like it.
I've got this weird relationship with sushi where because I never liked I didn't like fish growing up, and then I tried sushi and it was like fresh and it was like, oh, sick. And then I was like, what's this sauce? And then I was like, and so I found soy sauce that goes with it. Then I figured out there's wasabi. Like this is like in a 2-year period to each other. So I ate it just sushi, then sushi soy sauce. Then I found wasabi, and now I've found the ginger to go with it. So it's like a 6-year. I've now figured out how to eat sushi, and it's good, man. You've got to get it right. You've got to
Sounds like your whole life just changed.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like, what the fuck is this green thing? It's like, it's wasabi. Then someone's like, have you sprinkled ginger on it yet? You're like, what? And then you just...
No. It's literally me. I'm like, what's that fucking pink stuff? And it's like, oh, it's like pickled ginger. And I was like, I don't know, mate. And then I'll try it, and then it's just like as if I've eaten sushi for the first time.
Netflix or Disney Plus?
Netflix.
Yeah,
I haven't got Disney. I used to have Disney Plus.
Yeah. What are you watching on Netflix at the moment?
So today, because I've been in bed all day, I'd never seen Tiger King.
Neither.
So I literally just watched. I started the first season yesterday, and then I did the first season and the second season today, just up to this call.
Yeah, I never got into it. I didn't really jump in that, and Squid Games. I never jumped into that one either.
Squid Games, I was also holding off. I was like, what's all this crazy about? Because anytime everything's like super like, oh, have you seen this? And the whole world is like making memes about it. I'm normally like, oh no, fuck this. I don't want any part of this. Yeah. I kind of pull out, but I'm catching up. And now I'm like going to friends a year later. I'm like, dude, did you see Tiger King? They're like, you're such a loser.
We're not on that anymore at Squid Games.
Exactly.
Okay.
I watched Squid Game. It's rough though. Like, yeah, but I get what Braden's about.
PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation.
Yeah.
Always.
What are you playing on PlayStation?
FIFA. Only FIFA ever. I buy.
Wow.
Yeah, I buy one game a year since 2003. And that's FIFA. I've never bought a different game. It's
very Europe of you.
Oh mate, football is my religion.
Yeah. What's your favorite team? I have no idea about German. So
my German team is Bayer Leverkusen. I don't know if you know them. They're like top 5 teams in Germany, and then my English team's Chelsea. Okay. So good winning streak at the moment. I'm a happy boy.
FIFA is also interesting. I never got into that one either. It's just I can't see the big hype around it. It's like NHL or like the Madden. It's like, I don't know, sports is sports if you want to play it to outside. I don't know, that's just me.
Yeah. I don't know why I think it's just like, I don't know, you're trying to reenact the best goals you could ever imagine.
True.
And then there's just something addictive to it. Plus, you get all nerdy on the stats, and I'm like, oh, Ronaldo's pace gone up to 92, and I was like, oh fuck, but Messi's pace is on 93. It's like shit like that. I really get into it. Yeah.
And your partner turns around and goes, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah, but she like started picking up on it already. She's like, she knows when I'm talking about who or whatever sport I'm talking about. She rolls her eyes. Yeah. But she knows what's going on.
What's your biggest conspiracy?
Oh my days! It's probably going to be something with football. That like, it's literally that Cristiano Ronaldo is the greatest player to ever play, and like people are going to come after me in the comments. Like, but that's my conspiracy. I do not like Lionel Messi. Is not.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sue me.
I guess it's a bit different considering, like, you know, people are like, oh, 9/11's fake. But yeah, no, if you're going to go down that road and you want you want to be attacked, let's go down that road.
Probably get more attacked for the fucking football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when would you say you've made it in the music industry?
Um, I don't know. It's like, what's the parameter for that? I think I love that Rick Rubin quote where he's like, the second you put something out, you're already 100% successful. So it's just like, that's already success in itself. But then maybe someone on the street coming up and being like, oh, I heard your song that I don't know. I don't know. Because then that may seem bigger than how I feel it is. Because I'm not seeing the faces that are listening to this music. So yeah, maybe that. Being able to put face on, give the like the music a face that isn't me. Yeah.
Well, I assume your first performance, when that happens, you will see it, a crowd of people, and you'll be like, "Ooh, this is what 1,000 people look like," and it'll change your whole perspective on your numbers.
Yeah, probably. I won't believe it at first. I'll be like, "Ah, no, they must have like a deer on the beer here, like a deal on the beer." It can't be because of me, but yeah, we'll see.
I do have a question to find out what your school system is like overseas. I ask every overseas international person this, just to figure out what you know about Australia and what they teach you. So what's something you know about Australia?
I mean, I don't know anything. I don't necessarily know the school system in Australia. I know because a friend of mine has permanent residency over there, and the system is kind of like whoever wants to come and move to Australia, there's certain jobs that you need, that when Australia is like, oh, we need more chefs or we need more this or that, then those people are more likely to be able to then come over and work. That's one thing I know, but I don't know. Is the school system similar to because I didn't go to school in the UK. I went to school in America and in Germany.
Oh, that's right. You were around everywhere.
Yeah. I've been.
So I'll give you a pass then for not knowing anything about Australia, because they probably wouldn't have taught you anything in the US, and I don't think they teach you much about Australia in Germany either.
No, because we didn't. I think, is it because like in English school you get taught like Commonwealth and like the history of everything, but I never had that because going to school in Germany, it was like obviously we were hammered with the Second World War, so that's all we ever talked about in Germany, because the schools were like, right, we've got to drill this into them to make sure they know how fucked up this was. So yeah, but what is it like? So is it like primary school, middle school, high school, and then college, the system?
Oh, here it is. So we go from as low as like preschool, which is like 0 to 5, and then you got primary school, and then high school, and then university or college.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how old are you when you like done?
Depends what you study. If you do some bullshit in university, you could be there to like 28, but I think the average is around about 21 to 25, give or take.
All right. That's good though, because then that means, so what, you've got primary school, you've got like high school, and then when you go to, but how many people start going to, like what's the percentile average of people that then go to university?
Jeez. That's a good question. I didn't go myself, so that's a very good question. I could probably look it up if you want to know.
I can check as well, but then that means you're you're done by like 18, 19.
Yeah, it's not mandatory. Yeah, if you don't want to go to uni, you don't really need to. It's not like the States where universities end all be all. You can drop out at year 12, which is the end of high school, and then get a job. But if you want to be something higher or study something more in depth, then you go on to uni.
Yeah, that's more like the German system's like that as well. So you've got like preschool, you've got you go from preschool straight to the school that will be basically your middle and high school all in one. And then you
Jeez.
finish like when you're 18, 19. And then you can choose to carry on or not. Yeah.
Do you have anything to say to the next generation who wants to be in the music industry and or the modeling industry? Any advice?
I think the music industry is like, for people that are younger, it's much easier but more difficult to kind of find your voice, because like music is sold differently. So it's like over TikTok you can blow up, right? And your songs are a minute long because they're meant to be played on TikTok. I'm cool with that, but I'm kind of like, I don't know, I'm like a purist, so I'm like, just dig a bit deeper. But I'm not saying that the whole younger generation is like that. I don't know. I think they're doing sick. Like the music that's coming out is really, really sick. So they're always going to find their own way. And then modeling, try and get a lot of money and fuck off. Like, get the bag and run.
I feel like that's the music industry as well.
Yeah, maybe it applies to both. Just like, get the fucking bag and get out. But no, I just fucking enjoy it, I guess. I think that's the most grown-up thing I've ever said, but it's just like, don't forget why you started, because you just love music. Yeah.
You have anything to say to your ever-growing fan base?
Yeah, just like, cheers for giving listening to the songs and giving cool feedback, and yeah, I've got hopefully some more stuff coming soon.
What can we expect from you soon? Anything? Album? EP?
Yeah, I've got maybe another single or two, and then album. So we're busy on that, and it's definitely a different sound to the songs that are out now.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I went through your discography a couple of weeks back, and just listened to a bunch of stuff. Like all, I think 4 or 5 songs you've got there. You don't have a lot, but like they're still pretty decent songs.
Yeah.
Like considering you're an artist I've personally never heard of, I probably wouldn't have clicked your way if your manager didn't reach out, or your AR agent. But I'm glad she did, because now I am on your bandwagon. I'm on your train.
That is sick. Thanks, man. Cool. Love that. Love to hear it.
What do you have to say to anyone who isn't following you?
I'm like, come give it a listen. If it's for you, it is. If it ain't, it ain't. And I hope you're having a good life. Yeah, I'm pretty chilled about it.
Yeah. Oh, that's sick. Like your smile looked like you were gonna say something so like offbeat. Like, I was hoping you were gonna say something like your smile was just like, why the fuck aren't you following? Like,
no, I'm good. Like whoever wants to, just check it out, I guess.
I do want to ask one more question before we wrap this up. Have you tried Vegemite, and what do you think about it?
Oh mate, that's like your version of Marmite, isn't it?
Yeah, but Vegemite's better than Marmite.
Yeah, but how much? Like, I haven't had it, but I hate Marmite.
Okay, so yeah, you won't like Vegemite.
So I'm gonna like, yeah, no, probably not. Yeah, I don't know. You love it or you hate it, right? Well,
how do you eat your Marmite?
I don't. But English people, I guess they put it like my mum puts it on toast, and it's just rank, man.
Yeah.
That's like, no, I'm like traditional toast and butter, sea salted butter.
Is that it? That's so basic. Like no
I told you,
Nutella,
I'm a basic man. I'm a very boring, basic man.
no chocolate spread, nothing, just butter, like salted butter. That's it.
Mate, you can't beat it. Can't beat it. Like just 2 slices of toast in the morning, sea salt and butter on it. Oh, yeah.
It's probably healthier than the other breakfasts you were having while modeling. So,
Oh yeah, no breakfast or a beer or something. Chicken nuggets for breakfast.
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with the 10-pack nuggets, orange juice.
I'd kill for some, to be fair. Yeah, man.
Andreww, man, thank you so much for your time and for coming on.
Cheers. Thanks so much, man. Like, take care down there.